Hello, welcome to this week's episode of McDonald's Sessions. Today I'm here with Jason Silvers from the year I got the runs, and we'll have a lot of things to talk about. I think Jason likes to talk, I like to talk, so hopefully we can keep this relatively short. Okay, I am here with Jason, and we are in one of the busiest McDonald's ever. There's literally two giant meetings happening right over there. It's hilarious. So, the first thing I always do when I start these is ask about what kind of athletic things that you did or did not do in high school.
I did nothing. It's kind of a funny story, but my mom was a working mom in the 70s and signed me up for T-ball.
Okay.
And one Saturday I wanted to watch cartoons instead of go to T-ball, and so I threw a fit.
Yeah.
And my mom not only didn't take me to the game, she pulled me out of T-ball, and I was never enrolled in a sport again.
So did you do anything? Did you, I don't know, go to the gym?
Oh.
Did you do anything like physical at all in high school?
Not really, but my mom got into jogging back in the 70s when runners were called joggers, and so she would get up in the morning and run, and she wouldn't take me because it was early, but she did sign me up to run in the Liberty Run, which was a 5K. That was in 1979.
Was it as hilly back then as it is now?
Yes, it was hilly, and it was before they had electronic start finish lines. So I remember I was one of those kids that we hate who finishes like fast, right?
Yeah.
So I was coming up to the person with a clipboard at the finish line, and the woman who finished behind me cut in front of me and gave her name before I could give my name. But I finished really early on in that race. And then in 1981, she signed me up for the Macy's Day race, which was a 10K that ran downtown. It started at the Macy's that was downtown.
Yeah.
And at some point early on in the race, my mom just said go because she could tell she was holding me back. I do have a picture from that, so let's put it up.
Okay.
Here.
You just have to send it to me.
Yeah.
I'll put it right here.
Okay. And the face that I have in this picture is because I ate breakfast, a big bowl of cereal before that race, so my stomach was not happy.
Oh.
But yeah, it was a good time. But besides those two races, didn't play soccer, didn't play baseball, didn't go to the gym, didn't do anything but run around at recess, or I rode my bike all the time. The minute I got home, I was on my bike until dark.
I think that's a big difference between kids now and kids when we were younger, is even though if we weren't in organized sports, we were still doing stuff outside all the time. I mean, I remember riding my bike. I mean, the most injuries I probably ever had was on my bike. I would try to jump a curb or something. Instead, I would get off the ground and hit it, tumble over. And
I jumped everything. There was actually a flatbed semi that parked in my neighborhood, and I put my bike up on that
and tried to go down
and jumped off it.
Sounds painful.
Yeah, no, I was fine. I made it through my childhood without broken bones, without any major injuries. I was always very athletic. I just didn't have any foundation because I never played in any organized sport. So I'm really good at sports, except I suck at them because I don't know what to do. Like if I'm playing softball, I'll catch a fly ball, and then I don't have a plan. Like I don't know, this should go to first, this should go to third, this should go home. I just don't have that foundation. So I'm good at sports and I suck at them all at the same time. And then all that inactivity in athletics just kind of carried over into high school.
Yeah.
Because I graduated out of riding a little BMX bike and I got a 10-speed, but I hated riding a 10-speed, so I became kind of a couch potato. Luckily, I was always really thin, so
Yeah.
I didn't get sloth-like, but I just didn't do a whole lot.
So, what about college? Or where did you go to college at?
I actually went my freshman year to a college in St. Louis. It's now called Lindenwood University.
Yeah.
But I quickly learned that it didn't have the program I needed to be successful in life. So I transferred to the Columbus College of Art and Design, which is in Columbus, Ohio. Everyone asks me that. And I got a degree in advertising and marketing, advertising and design.
Okay.
So I spent 4.5 years there, and then came home and started working. I graduated straight into a job, which was very lucky at that time. I've been working ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you ever, this is non-athletic, but have you ever played like disc golf or done some kind of like really different sport?
I actually used to dabble in racquetball,
Okay.
which I liked. But I, unlike basketball or tennis, you have to belong somewhere to play racquetball. So it wasn't really an easy sport for a high school kid or a college kid
Yeah.
to play. And then when I was younger and I was, I got to have the benefits of my parents' purse strings. I skied a lot. I was a really good skier. But you only got to go once a year, and you'd ski 4 days and have to come home. So, and the last time I went skiing, I went skiing when I was 21 by myself, and then I went once with a work group, which was a lot of fun. We were skiing. We were in Canada, in Vancouver on a job, and we basically played hooky for an entire day and went to Whistler and skied Whistler the year before the Olympics were there.
Oh, nice.
And it was just an amazing opportunity because Whistler makes the mountains in Colorado look teeny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was just incredible skiing. And then no more. No more.
I've been skiing twice and I hated it because first off, my balance is terrible. I didn't like carrying all the stuff, and I sweat all the time.
Yeah,
so
right.
I would sweat like carrying my stuff, and it was not fun. So
No.
Okay, so we got you through high school and college.
Right.
Like, how did you get from not really doing anything to running all the time? Like, how did that start at the beginning?
Okay, it's a long story that I'm going to try to make short.
Okay.
But I was working at a local company here, and traveling a lot, eating well, not doing a lot, i.e. sitting on the couch a lot. And I was heading to my office, and I was using the stairs at the parking garage, and I felt things up here bouncing. And like I said earlier, I've always been a really skinny kid, so it was the first time in my life anything on my body jiggled. And I was like, oh man, I need to start doing something about this. So I got a membership at a local gym here and started working out. And then I got a personal trainer over years, who introduced me to CrossFit type workouts.
Okay.
He couldn't call it CrossFit because it's registered, but
We could say CrossFit.
yeah. We did CrossFit workouts, and I really enjoyed it. And then I ended up switching to a CrossFit gym, which for me, I don't recommend it because they push you so much. I feel like you get injured.
I feel like that too.
My knees have been, severely compromised from all those squats and everything. But my CrossFit gym started including more running into the workouts, and I realized that I was actually really good at running, and I kind of enjoyed it. So I decided I was going to stop doing CrossFit and stop injuring myself, throwing my back out, hurting my knees, and I was going to start running. And that was right around the same time that I decided I was going to teach myself video editing, because being in advertising, I thought having the skill of editing would make me more more desirable as an employee because I was getting older. And so I merged the two. So I started I was going to say videotaping, which is so old, it makes me sound old. I started recording my runs so I could edit them, and I started running so I could record them and edit them, and they both are like completely intertwined. And I hate running without my GoPro. I find it so boring. If I didn't do one, I wouldn't do the other. But that's how I started. Then I started enrolling in races and or registering races, and I've been doing it for 8 years.
So you never really ran without doing the videos. I was going to ask you that. Like, how did you start running and then deciding that you wanted to do videos? But
no, they literally started hand in hand. I ran the Groundhog Run in. Well, I take that back. So I ran the Commitment Day Run and probably a couple other races with just my phone.
Yeah.
And then I ran the Groundhog Run with my phone, and I think that was really the first race I recorded. And then my wife, as a surprise, I think for Valentine's Day, got me a GoPro. And I've been recording every run since.
Did you start uploading them to YouTube immediately, or did you just make these videos for yourself?
No, the YouTube channel started just like in December of 2014.
Okay.
I started my running on Commitment Day, the Commitment Day 5K, on January 1st, 2015.
Okay.
And uploaded a video. So they both started instantly. Yeah. I'm Jason, and welcome to my channel, 2015, the year I got the runs. The reason I started this channel is I wanted to document myself training to run, running in races, and even training in the gym in preparation for those races. And I wanted to take you on that journey with me and hopefully inspire some of you to join along. I've never been big into running.
So there's, I might be out of order here of the sequence of events.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times that I know that I do videos where I'm just completely by myself. And I know that you've done like the 41 mile, the Pi, is it 41 miles?
It's 42.42, and the only reason I know that is we didn't get a belt buckle for that. We got an orange mud seat cover with it embossed on it.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't realize until after that race, excuse me, that my favorite number that I see everywhere is 242. So when I got this seat cover and it was 42 miles, 0.42 miles.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, that's really cool because that's my number and it's now going to be on my seat.
So you're out there a lot by yourself.
Yes.
I'm out there, but probably tomorrow at Cactus Roulette, you're going to be there by yourself.
Yeah.
So is the GoPro like a person to you, where you're talking to, the audience? Is that the reason that you like to have it?
Yeah, the GoPro is a huge distraction for me. I think that's why I hate running without it, because when I'm running with a GoPro, I'm always looking for the next shot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, is there someone in a funny costume? Is there a funny sign along the race course? Is there just a beautiful scenic view that needs to be captured? So I'm always looking, and I'm not concentrating on if my legs hurt or if I don't know if I'm hungry or if I have to go to the bathroom. Like, it's a complete distraction. And when I talk to the GoPro, I really do feel like I'm talking to the people who are hopefully going to watch the video. But I do have a funny anecdote.
Okay.
Which came up when you and I ran just a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not going to talk about this because we're going to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Later. And I hope I'm not confusing it. And that was a story that I said when I was running with Sydney, and I think it might have been.
It doesn't matter.
Excuse me, but
you got to watch all the videos to get the full story.
Right. But when I run long races like Nighthawk, which is a 50K, my battery doesn't last, and then my arm just, after 10 miles, you don't want to carry any extra weight. So I ditched my GoPro. And the first Nighthawk I ran, which is at night, at the end of the first 10 miles, it started raining. The second loop, which is the second 10 miles, just complete downpour. And then I had to go back for a third. And I didn't know, because as you know, I never trained. So up until that point, I hadn't run past, I hadn't even run a marathon distance. And it was dark and I was miserable and I was by myself.
Yeah.
Because at that point everyone's so spread out. And I literally talked to every course flag that was on the course. So if you're not a trail runner, they mark the course in, I don't know the increments. I mean, they're not consistent, but when you round a bend, they'll have a flag there. They call them confidence flags sometimes, just so you know you're on the right course. Or they'll have it at a fork so you know which way to go. But I literally, the only thing that mentally got me through that third loop was I was running and I'd be like, okay, flag, where are you? Oh, there you are, flag. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Okay, thank you for being here. And then I would just look for the next one. I did that for 10 miles, which on this course is 2 hours. So I just was talking to myself and talking to inanimate objects for 10 miles. And that's what I needed to distract me because I didn't have my GoPro.
Yeah, I mean, I will, like on Gary Holler, if I'm running really far, I'm looking at those mile markers every time and kind of saying, hey, and counting down, like how many I got to go that way and come back, and I'll see them again. But yeah, so it's hard to run by yourself. It's a long, I don't know. It's fun to be able to talk to the camera and kind of, because for one, I don't know if you have this problem, but I don't remember things in the race. I'll sometimes be really miserable in the race, and not after. I don't even think about it until I'm editing. I'm like, I was like, man, I was not having a good time out there, and that's a good thing to be able to look back and see that.
It is good to look back, but the thing that I noticed about having a GoPro is because I am so busy trying to find the next thing to film or the next person to talk to. Even years later, I'll run that race again and I'll be like, oh, at that point is where I saw so-and-so, or at that point this happened. At that point, someone dropped their earbud, because I remember that at mile 13 of the Kansas City Marathon, and it's only because I'm so in tune to what's going on around me. I feel like I actually enjoy the race and take in more of the race using a GoPro than if I wasn't. Now, real quick, I need to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because we kind of skipped over this, but I find myself during races running alone a lot because I'm a middle of the packer, which is I'm not as fast as the fast runners and I'm not as slow as the slow runners. So I'm just by myself in the middle. And you said you tend to find yourself running alone a lot. Do you experience that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably more like middle to the back all the time, and it's really weird how you can be in this it has to be a really big race for people to be together the whole time. Like if I run a half marathon, most of the time by the end, unless I'm running with someone, there's no one around, and especially like the 50K, like anything like that, there's hardly anyone around, and it's really weird.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, especially 5Ks and 10Ks being a middle of the packer. Like you can sometimes really just be by yourself in a small race like that. And it's nice running with people, but sometimes I also feel like either I'm holding them back or they're holding me back. Yeah. Or sometimes I just like to concentrate on shooting my video. I feel it's just in me to feel like I have to entertain whoever's running with me. So I feel like there's this double obligation. Yeah.
So what's your like philosophy with your channel? I know my YouTube channel is a little bit different. I am really trying to film it from my perspective of like, this is what it is like to run this race for me. This is kind of how I feel. This is kind of, you know, what I'm going through. And it's just maybe so other people can relate to that and understand that just because, you know, you look at our pictures, like our mile 90 pictures, and it looks like we're just having a great time.
Yeah.
We're running all the time, but I'm not. I'm like, I see the camera and I'm, you know, it's about as posed as possible.
Yes.
So what's your philosophy on your
Yeah.
channel? Because I know that you like to talk to a lot more people than I ever do. Like
Right.
I talk to people, but it's pretty much not people. If I don't know them, that I won't even get my camera out. So some people don't even know I have the camera until later.
Right. Well, first of all, I'm going to second that with the photographer, because I can spot a photographer from a half mile away, and I'll even tell people around me, photographer ahead, because you want to like have that photographer stride so it doesn't look like you're walking. You want to have a smile.
Yeah.
Some people jump, which I'm afraid to now at my age. I mean, I'm 52, I'm not old, but doing a hop with a sidekick, not really the smartest thing to do in a race.
Did you see Sydney and I's pose at Loggerhead? We like literally stopped and like we did like a wrestling pose. Like she did like this thing out with her leg, and I was like standing behind her.
I'll also look that up. No, I didn't see it. That's hilarious.
Maybe I'll put it in the video.
Yeah, do it. I want to see it. But to answer your question, when I started my channel, it was all about being showing people what it's like to start running, right? And that's when I was shooting most of my video in front of my laptop, and it was horrible. And I go back to watch those videos because I have them all still up on my channel. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe anyone even watched this. I have trouble watching it. It's so boring. But when I got my GoPro and everything, it allowed me to be more personable. So my goal changed to it's like, I don't even want to say it's twofold. It's like three or fourfold. So I want to entertain people, right? I want to show the local races and courses, because I've gotten so many comments from people that, oh, I was going to run this race and I found your video and it really helped me understand what the course looked like. So that's really important to me. I love talking to people. You know, when I started, I didn't know anyone in the running community, so anyone I talked to was a stranger. Now I know so many people that I'm like, oh, there's Clint, there's Katie, there's Sydney, there's Hallie. But I still try to get strangers. So I'll run up, and I try not to annoy people, and it's debatable whether I do that. So I try to keep it, you know, really short. But I'll run up, and you'll just see this hand with this GoPro come past your face, and I'll just be like, "Hey, how's it going?" or "Happy New Year," or whatever celebration we're doing.
Yeah.
And I'll just ask them how they're feeling, and then I wish them a good run, because I don't want, you know, someone who doesn't know me doesn't necessarily want to be interviewed while they're running a half marathon. I get that. And then I think the last fold of my channel is I just enjoy the creativity of sitting down and trying to put together segments of a video in some sort of theme, whether it's because I use the music to help tie it together and I cut to the music, or if I put little extras that pop up when I'm talking, but just the creativity and the puzzle. I mean, you've edited videos. It's a puzzle to know where to cut, what scenes to eliminate. It's pretty fun, but it's super time consuming.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
These videos are pretty easy because I just pretty much leave everything in, and then I just add some pictures and stuff. So this is an easy format. It's just time consuming, and I'll tell you, it's also interesting is there's a lot of people that don't want to do it.
Oh, I know. Well, we were just talking about someone who I know has had a GoPro since 2015 or 16, who has never once even used it to shoot their running video. I mean, they haven't used it, but I don't blame them, because not only do you have to shoot footage with your camera, you have to learn how to edit.
Yeah.
And you can edit on your phones, and they've made it as easy as possible. But it's still time consuming.
It's expensive too. I mean, to get like Adobe Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't use a music service, do you?
No, I just use the free music that YouTube provides.
I have a music service, so that's why I have like a lot of different music, and I use music all the time just because half the time when I'm running, when actually I'm filming my running, I don't know if it's the camera or if it's just me, but I feel like I breathe too heavy. I can't stand that when it's in the video, so I turn that down and put music in.
Oh yeah. Well, I actually, so YouTube is great because they have free music that you can use.
Yeah.
But the editing process, like you said, I use Adobe Premiere. I use that music from YouTube. When I first started editing, it would take me 12 to 15 hours to shoot, to edit a video. So imagine running a race on Saturday or Sunday, going home, and literally spending the entire rest of the day or the weekend editing a video, because I always release on Mondays to subscribers, and then I post it on Facebook and stuff on Tuesday for the people who haven't subscribed. Subscribe, it helps us. But now I've gotten to the point where I can get it done in 4 hours, and that is bringing the footage in, cutting it down, and it's funny if you watch me, because I'll just be piecing it together, and you'll see me rocking like this, because I'm actually keeping like a beat in my head, and I'm counting, 4s and 8s, and I'm cutting my videos to that. Then I go and I look at the length of my video when I cross the start line to when I cross the finish line, and then I find music that's about that length, and then I recut my video to that. And then I'll add extras, and I can do that now in about 4 or 5 hours. So every video you watch of mine has been edited 2 or 3 times.
I'm not going to say that for me. So have you ever had races where the video was hard to make? Like tomorrow, we're doing Cactus Roulette, and I feel like last year when I did it, it took me longer to edit it, and I'm not saying time, that I didn't even want to like look at the footage for a while because of something that happened in it, or it was really important to you and you felt like you couldn't even get the story out the way that you wanted to.
I've had that experience, but it's been few and far between. My issue with long races, so tomorrow Clint and I are both running a 6-hour trail run, and we're going to be doing 3 separate loops, and it's just luck of the draw which loop we have to run.
Luck of the draw. Luck of the draw. That's not how I did it last year, I'll tell you that.
And it's going to be 15 degrees when we start.
That's the worst part.
But I can tell you, with races like that, or late races like Nighthawk, or the Pi Day where I ran 42 miles, there's only so many times you can film the same trail.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of subscribers, and when I look at my analytics, not many people watch my videos, and they only watch about 50%. So I can run with a GoPro that entire race and film everything and end up with like 4 hours of footage that I'm gonna have to cut down to be about 8 minutes, knowing that people are gonna watch anywhere from 3 to 4 minutes of, right? So sometimes it's just kind of hard for me to want to sit down and edit, knowing that no one's gonna watch it. But luckily, I do have my channel because I do it for me, and I'm hoping that people watch. So, but if I was doing it for me, I wouldn't shoot 6 hours of footage and make a 30-minute video. I would catch the highlights and make a 6 or 8 minute video. Yeah,
That's true.
So I hope that answered your question.
I mean, I totally understand because I am making the videos for me, but I hope people watch. But I don't, in some ways, and then the weird thing about YouTube too, and I've talked to like Sydney about this, is what videos get like a bunch of views. It's so weird.
It's so random.
Yeah.
It's completely random. I don't think, they say that there's a science behind it. I don't think so. I think it's, I don't know. But one thing I do try to do, and unfortunately your video about running has turned into a YouTube one. So if you wanna,
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I think this is the only time we're really, when I interview Todd, I'll probably ask him some of the same questions.
Right.
He doesn't film near as much as we do.
No. But the one thing I do try to do, and a perfect example is last week, I always try to watch a video from start to finish, and I am guilty. I always watch every video at 2 times speed. Because I don't have the patience to watch long videos, even short videos anymore. That's the problem with YouTube, is it's gotten our attention span short. I watch everything at 2 times speed. I love it at 2 times speed, but I also make sure I like the videos and comment on the videos because it helps people. Last week, my wife was pushing YouTube up to our TV, and she started playing your video. And I thought that was great, but she didn't like it or comment on it. So
She didn't like it, or she didn't like it?
Well, it's hard. She liked it, but she didn't give you the thumbs up.
She said, Clint is terrible.
Right.
Oh, unsubscribe from this channel.
Right. So the next day, I went and I watched your entire video again, and I gave you a thumbs up and I commented because that's what I do with all the channels that I subscribe to. I make sure I support them by doing all that.
Yeah, I always make sure that I do that too. So I always watch your videos to the end, but it is weird. Like I thought, like the interviews, like some of the interviews would be like the biggest, and then the Hangover half was like twice as much as any of the interviews, and it's nothing special. Like I didn't even really want to film it because I've run that section a bunch of times. It's just me, and and sometimes like right before a race, you can see the spike in a view. Like the groundhog race, I think is today. Is it tomorrow or today?
I don't know.
Whenever it is, and it doesn't matter because this is coming out after that. It's soon because all of a sudden I can see people are watching the video. So
yeah, and that's kind of what we talked about earlier. That the nice part about showing the course and talking about the races is people do use that as reference when they're signing up.
Or I could even tell there must have been a price cut on the Garmin Marathon in Olathe like recently because all of a sudden I had a whole bunch of views on the Garmin Marathon video. So it's I don't understand, and part of me doesn't even care. I just find it interesting. Because I mean, we don't have enough subscribers to get like ad revenue or anything like that.
Not even close.
Yeah, you have to get 1,000, I think.
You have to get 1,000 subscribers, and then you have to have a certain number of minutes watched per month. And if you dip below that one month, like your revenue goes away. And so it'd be odd. And they keep raising the bar. So at one point I was close, and then they raised it again. Now I'm nowhere close. So it's not part of my master plan, but it would be kind of cool if a check just showed up.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling that's never gonna happen for me.
No, but so talking about just how weird it is, and how you can't really make videos that you know is going to get a lot of views. In 2016, I got a flip belt, and I did this funny little video about it, and then I did a run, and that thing has over 20,000 views. Like my typical view for a video is like 110. If it's been up for a couple years, it might have like 230. I don't know. So 20,000. And then on Instagram, I saw that the street crew was going in front of my house, and they were just like filling cracks in the street with tar. And I filmed like 9 seconds of that. and posted that on my Instagram. That has over 20,000 likes. My typical, when I post my videos or anything else, 15. No rhyme or reason. People love, for some reason, watching them fill a crack with tar.
I've seen weird stuff like that too, especially when Reels is on Instagram. I had a video of I think like one of my kids playing basketball, and it had a ton of views. It wasn't like this big highlight. It was just a free throw or something. It's really weird. So I'm gonna get a drink refill real fast, and we're gonna go talk a little bit more about running instead of YouTube this whole time. Right. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. So Jason and I are talking about being sponsored, ambassadors, stuff like that. So I only want to have one sponsorship. It's right here from McDonald's. So McDonald's, if you ever watch this, I would like to get a gold card so I get McDonald's free for life. I have promoted McDonald's a lot for running. So
he has.
Jason is a Orange Mud ambassador.
Yeah, I'm an Orange Mud ambassador. So you'll probably notice in almost every one of my videos, I'll have an Orange Mud hat on, mainly because I love their trucker hat. They have a great trucker hat, and I love running with a buff around my neck because in the winter it keeps me warm, and in the summer I can use it for sweat. And so I'm always wearing an Orange Mud buff. And then
you talked about it earlier. The Orange Mud seat cover is awesome. I have one. I have one for Chase. He has one in his car. So
yeah,
and that's really the only Orange Mud thing I have, but I love it.
Yeah, well, and Orange Mud has now the waterproof seat cover.
That's what. Yeah, that's what I have.
I have now 3 Orange Mud seat covers. One is in my wife's car, and then I have the one that I got for finishing the Pi Day 42-mile distance, and then I went out and bought the one for this waterproof because there's so many races in the summer that I have to hang around after the race before I get in my car because I don't want to just sweat up my seats. So now I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I have a seat cover and I have that Orange Mud seat cover. So I have 2 seat covers. Yeah. You're supposed to be able to put it around you and change clothes. I've never attempted that.
Well, yeah, it has a clasp that goes around your waist so you can take your shorts down and put on something else.
If somebody wants to come demonstrate that, that might be our most viewed video. So
yeah,
I'll invite anyone that wants to do that.
Yeah, well, the thing is Hallie, my running buddy, who we just haven't been able to hook up lately on our runs because life. She's really smart, and especially after long races, she always brings flip-flops.
Okay, we're back. For some reason, my camera said it was overheated, so we'll see how this goes. We were just talking about ambassadors and the Orange Mud seat covers.
Right.
You were saying Hallie brings
flip-flops. Thank you for reminding me because I had no idea where we left off. She brings flip-flops, and she changes into those at the end of a race to make her feet feel better. Sometimes I try to do that, but at the end of the race, I just want to get home. So I keep my shoes on, and I can't imagine wanting to change clothes. I just want to get in my car and go.
Well, I've changed clothes before. I mean, I don't use the thing. I mean, I think at Nighthawk we had just changed outside. It was hope to God no one came.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like at races you kind of see stuff anyway. If you have to go to the bathroom on the side of the trail, then you just do. So
yeah,
stuff like that. So, do you have a favorite or favorite races? Favorites?
So I get asked that question a lot, and it's really hard to pick races.
What's a race that you would never skip?
Well, so that's kind of the direction I was going. A race that I would never skip is the Rock the Parkway Half Marathon, and that's because that was the first half marathon I ever did. So, it's just it holds a special place. I hold a special place in my heart for that race. And then the Nighthawk, I've run it the 50K twice and the 10-miler once. I hold that as one of my favorite races, but it's not a race that I want to do every year.
Yeah.
Because it's hard as hell. I want to try other 50Ks.
Yeah.
And then, do I have a favorite 5K? I can't pick a favorite 5K.
Do you like 5Ks?
I actually love 5Ks more than any other distance because those are the ones that, especially if it's a small race, I could place in my age group and get a age group medal. Longer races, I definitely end in the middle to the middle back of the pack.
Yeah.
But also, I can go all out in a 5K, be done in 24 minutes. And
I don't know how you don't train all the time. I'm training for long runs all the time, so 5Ks have become a lot harder because I don't even try to go all out ever.
Yeah.
And then I try to do it, every once in a while, and it's rough.
Yeah, and we haven't really talked about this, but you mentioned it. I don't train for any races, so I run a race almost every weekend of the year, but I don't run during the week. And I've always been fine with that. I've always done really well. But I've noticed, Clint, this year, for some reason, my confidence has tanked, and I don't know why. So this race tomorrow, I have doubts. I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, when I run at Clinton Lake for a Nighthawk or the Snake 10 mile or whatever, I can do 10 miles in under 2 hours. So if we're running 6 hours, I was thinking I could get close to 30 miles in.
Yeah.
But I know from a group run I did with the Lawrence Trailhawks just 2 or 3 weeks ago, which I filmed and I never edited that video. Sorry, I just didn't have what it took. Kind of going back to others, I just didn't want to edit it. Sorry, but my confidence was gone. I was nervous about tripping, which I usually go all out on trail runs and never consider tripping. I'm worried about longer distances. Can I actually run the Liberty Half, which is a super hilly run, without having to walk? I don't know what happened to my confidence this year.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah.
I'm always like that.
Yeah.
But our goal, I talked to Sydney, our goal is to run 20 miles. We did 19.4, I think, last year.
Okay.
So we're just trying to do 20, which I'm not confident that, honestly, that I can do that because I've just, I don't know. I take my time on that one because it's hilly and it's, I don't want to trip either. Yeah. Sydney tripped at the very end last year and it was really bad.
Oh, I remember.
But, yeah.
I'm actually contemplating, to explain this race a little better, if you don't complete your last lap before 12 noon, that lap doesn't count.
Right.
So it is advantageous to wear a watch, but I don't wear watches. I don't run with a watch.
They'll tell you on the last one how long you have.
Okay.
We were 45 seconds from not making it last year.
Okay. Because I was actually thinking about charging my watch, which I don't think I've worn in a year and a half, and having it with me so on that last loop, I would know if I can walk more or if I need to really kick it in.
Excuse me.
Because the worst thing in the world, I think, would be 30 yards from the finish line when time expired, and that entire loop, whether it was the 3.2 mile loop or the 2.9?
Yeah.
And 1 point.
Bunker Hill, I think, is the shortest.
Yeah, it's 1 point something. But can you imagine running 3.2 miles?
I'd be very mad.
And it not counting because you were 30 seconds past the
we were
finish
imagining
line?
that last year because we were tired, so we didn't really have the correct distance for the one that we did. I think we did Swim Beach, and we thought it was shorter, so we thought we had a lot.
Well, didn't you say last year, Swim Beach, you didn't really get to run many times?
Maybe it was Cactus. I don't even remember the names of them. One of them we only ran once, and then we ran one that we had run. So whichever one we'd run a lot, we ran again because we thought we could make it. We should have run Bunker Hill. So you're supposed to spin the wheel.
Yeah.
But on that one we didn't because we knew how much time we had, so we specifically just said like, and then we knew where mile 90 was one time, and so we did Bunker Hill because of that.
Okay.
But I mean, maybe if you're like up in the front and are trying to like win, they would keep track of that more, but they don't. Sydney and I are like barely in the race, so we're just having fun. But I think there's a lot more people this year too than there was last year.
Oh, I'm sure. Like I actually had complete FOMO last year. I kept thinking about signing up for that race, and I didn't this race, the Cactus Roulette. But I don't know if I had like a long race before or after it, so I just didn't know if it was smart for me to do. And as soon as I saw all the posts coming out and then your video, I was like, oh my god, I should have done that race. And our friend Todd Chandler is the race director, so you know, I felt sorry I didn't support him on his inaugural event. But I do have a question for you. I keep switching it up on you. Trail runs are tricky, especially when they're technical, and you're not a small guy, and you got some big feet. How is it running a trail run with so many tripping hazards with larger feet? I wear a size 9, so I'm average.
It's tough. I wear a size 15. So I have to worry about both directions. So I have to worry about my feet, and I have to worry about overhead because the trails are not cleared for someone taller, so there's branches and stuff that no one else hits except for me, so I really have to be careful everywhere. But it is tough, and on trails I really notice that I don't pick up my feet well when I run. Like it brings out kind of the worst parts. So that's definitely one of the things that I've learned. So,
and I'm sure you get rid of a lot of spider webs.
Oh yeah, I don't. That sucks.
Running face first into a spider web is like one of the worst things, especially at night.
Okay, we're not 100% sure where that cut off. My battery almost died, and then my camera said it overheated. So never had this problem before, so we're having a little technical issues. But
that's right. But that's part of doing this. But the last thing I was saying before the camera cut out is the worst thing in the world is running face first into a spider web, especially at night. And I'm sure since you're taller than a lot of the runners, you probably get it worse than anybody.
I get it. I mean, I could be almost the last person, and I'll still hit them, and that's part of the reason I like running the trails way more in the winter. You just have less of the problems. You have the ticks, snakes, spider webs, or the heat. So I like tomorrow will be fun, except for I wish it was going to be just 20 degrees warmer maybe, but it'll still be fun. So during all these races, like when it gets really, really difficult at the end, how do you keep yourself going? Do you have like a mantra you tell yourself besides talking to the flags?
I wish. Just the other week I was running a 5K, and I am out of shape because I have not been running. At the end of what year is it? At the end of 2022, I went on vacation. So I missed a few weeks of running, and then I came back, and there just weren't a lot of races.
There's not a lot
November,
of races.
December, which I felt like there were less this year than past years. So I just feel like I'm out of shape, but I've been trying to run hard again. And I was running a 5K, and I was probably running faster than I should have been. And I was getting tired, really tired. And I just remember thinking to myself, well, there's only a mile left, which is funny because that's in a 5K, that's 1/3 of the race. But I just basically told myself, suck it up, there's just a mile left. When it's a half marathon, I'm more willing to walk. I still try to run, but I don't know. I just push through it. I can't say there's a mantra. Like there's not a song that I start singing to myself, like "Eye of the Tiger" or anything like that. I think I'm afraid of finishing too far back from a time that I set in prior years. So I just push through, and it's probably the stupidest thing you could do.
Yeah.
That's probably why some people have heart attacks at the finish line. But that's yeah, I don't have a mantra, I just push through.
Okay. So we covered YouTube, covered a lot of running, we covered your non-athletic history in school, covered your kind of mantra that isn't really existent.
Right.
Do you have anything else that you would like to talk about that we haven't covered? That people should know about you?
Well, let's see. The thing that's hard about running races every weekend like we do, and editing videos, and I don't think I'm nearly as active as you outside of work. Like, you do a lot of things. You coach. You watch your children. I think you coach. You watch your
No,
kids.
I used to coach.
Okay,
I'm retired.
You go to all your kids' games. You do a lot. I would love to take this time to just thank my wife, because she, on the weekends, has to endure me waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday or Sunday, and then coming home and then burying my face in a computer for a good portion of that day, and then all the time I spend like looking at analytics or whatever. Like, she used to come to races, and I don't blame her for not. Like, if I were her, I'd rather be at home in bed. But I just want to thank her for letting me do, in a way, such an annoying sport for someone who doesn't run it, right?
Yeah.
Like, runners talk about running all the time. We're always like looking at our medals and looking for the next race, and we're editing our videos. So I just want to acknowledge her and thank her for that. How's your wife with it?
She always told me she's going to come out and run with me again, so I'm trying to get that to happen. I don't know. She doesn't love it all the time, but it just kind of depends on the weekend. But I think she likes that I get out there and do something. I'm not just sitting around. I mean, I think she thinks it's crazy that I get up at like 5 in the morning to go run when it's 5 degrees outside. But
and then you, with all your training, like, especially last year, you'll be like, well, it's 11 o'clock at night. I'm going to go run 13 miles.
She doesn't love that.
I can't imagine. I can't.
Yeah. I'll probably have, she's going to do one of these. She wants to like run a little bit more before she does one of these interviews, but I'm going to ask her like what she thinks about that for sure. That's going to be definitely one of my questions. So.
You might regret asking it.
Well, I'll just edit it out. Just like I do in my head. If she says something negative about my running, I could just edit it out.
That's pretty funny. It's a perfect example of what marriage is like.
Yeah. I mean, I know she like mutes what I say all the time, so it's not any different.
Well, that's part of marriage, right? Like, you support the person you love and are with, but you need to block out those things that annoy you, and you need to be super accepting of the things that only slightly ignore you, because that's just part of marriage, right?
So we were going to end on this like nice sweet moment where Jason's thanking his wife, and now he's like, but what I really do is I just block her out and don't listen to anything she says.
No, that's not the point. Actually, for being married 10 years, we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. I feel like we are very communicative. That's a hard word. Communicative, and very respectful of each other. And we haven't gotten to the point where it's just like, yes, dear. And I hope we never do.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be our 20th anniversary here.
Oh, congratulations.
In June.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, it's hard, but I don't know. You don't want to, I think, again, I don't know if there's a lot of people like getting ready to get married watching this. But you got to make sure that you like really can talk to the person, and you want to make sure you have those separate things, because one of the things you'll run out of stuff to talk about if you're not doing some things separate. You don't have to do a lot separate, but you got to have something to talk about. I mean, I think she likes to hear about when I see deer on the trail and just small things. Like, I know what to talk about and what not to talk about. There's some things she doesn't like to hear about. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
No, I'm really glad that running has introduced us. I've met so many great people running races, the running community, and especially the trail running community. Just such a great group of people, and
the people you never know any other way.
Right, I would never have met you if it wasn't for running.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've gained something from knowing you, especially Clint's old GoPros. He just gave me this one today, so thank you very much. But besides tangible things like a GoPro, no, just it's been great getting to know you through running and all the people that I've become friends with because of running. Otherwise, I don't know. Like, as you get older, it's harder to get to know people and become friends with people. So having something in common like this and being able to meet someone that you like through a hobby is great.
Yeah, it is hard. I mean, again, it's harder to have friends, even have friends when you get older. It's just things change.
Yeah.
So it is nice to have this thing where you get to know, and then it's also the people that run are just all so different.
Yeah.
There's people that I talk to that listen to like hair metal that I talk to all the time about that, and there's no way that I'd even know them. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and the other cool thing about it is, I've met people and become friends and acquaintances with people that are half my age and 30 years older than me, and we don't talk politics. We don't talk.
Yeah.
We usually just enjoy being around each other and talking about running or enjoying just casual, banter before or after the race. It's kind of like it kind of levels out everything, and it would be great if there was a way that you could take what is nice about friendships that I've developed through running and just have that spread and make the world a better place, because it's not about you're on this side, I'm on that side. It's just you're a human, I'm a human, we like the same thing.
I've said this a lot of times. If you really think the world is terrible and really divided, you should go running and meet those people, because you'll find all these people that are super supportive of you. I was running the Mile Zero, I think, and there were a couple people that just drove by on the highway and were like rolling their window down, like asking if I was okay, which it was just because it was hot, and I think I must have looked like hell. But so I mean, just stuff like that where people are really supportive. I mean, on the human level, we're all. I mean, I'm not saying we're all the same, but we're similar enough, and we all, when we all line up, we have that same goal, is just to finish.
Yeah.
We've all done some sort of work to get there, so we all have that thing in common, which it's cool. I mean, you're right. You just see all kinds of different people, backgrounds. I'm sure politics. Good thing we probably don't talk about it, because then there'd probably less people there. So I think it's a great sport. So I don't know. Again, if you're making YouTube videos, maybe you'll get something out of this. If you're a runner, and then maybe if you're looking for something to do, this is why running is great, because you can just meet some awesome people, and maybe some of those people that we think are great are really not that great. But in running, they are great.
Right,
so I think that's awesome.
But what's not great are the people that show up to holiday races and they're planning on walking, but they line up at the front.
Oh yeah.
If you walk a race, start at the back, please.
And if you're one of those, there's like all these Olathe races where they have elementary kids come, they like to start at the front too, and they run really fast, and then they walk at like half a mile.
Oh, not even a half mile. It's like the funniest thing. It's like
They burn out really fast.
yeah, like within the first quarter mile. So you're dodging children. I give them a little bit of a pass because I remember what it was like being a kid. You feel like you were invincible, but as someone that tries to run, especially a 5K, and
if we're filming, I'm looking ahead and you're down here.
yeah,
I don't want to hurt a kid.
it's hard dodging children. It is.
Okay, so I think we've
covered everything.
a lot of different subjects.
Feel free to edit any of that out.
No, I think it's good. And one of the meetings that was over here in this McDonald's is over, but it's like a family reunion or something over here.
Yeah.
That's happening now too. So hopefully the background noise isn't too bad, but I think we've covered a lot of good stuff. And,
We have.
I think I've gotten to know you even better, so I'm glad I heard some of your stories. I mean, that's the whole reason I'm doing these videos. It's because I feel like there's just more to know, and everyone has like a really good story about why they run and what they get from running.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we came to do this, and I'm glad that McDonald's is always here for us.
McDonald's, sponsor him already. Sponsor him.
Okay, well, I think this family reunion over here is wrapping up, so I guess we're going to wrap up. And thank you for coming, and thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.
Later. Thanks, Clint.